To Live in Your Best Life Experiment, Week 18, Chapter 20, Fears for Suckers. The first part of the chapter talks about we choose what we fear. I think a better way of putting it is we choose how we react to that fear. Part of living with anxiety is having a lot of irrational fears, and I feel like if I didn't figure out a way to deal with my fears, I would never do anything. Part of that is putting myself out there and doing things like this. Then it talks about how we make fear a habit and how we get a lot of those fears from people who love us and are concerned about us. Say if you told somebody that you were going skydiving, their initial response would be for your safety and start listing the things that you should fear about it. But what she's saying here is that fear lives in the future or lives in the past. And when we are focusing on things that haven't happened in the past or the future, we're not focusing on the moment. And we end up missing out on living in that moment and really living life. Then it goes into things we can do to help us manage our fear. So the first one is view it from the rear view window. If you look back on situations where you had a lot of fear about them, most of the times your fears going into them were a lot bigger than your fears while it was happening. A lot of the times our anticipation of the unknown is what we really fear. So the second one is flip the fear, and how you do that is break it down to the real reason you fear it and then flip it around and work backwards. So the example she has here is, I want to write a book but can't get myself to sit down and do it. Why not? I'm scared that if I do, it would be terrible. What happens if it's terrible? If it's terrible, I'll look stupid. Then what? People will make fun of me. Then what? I'll feel ashamed. So then you're protecting yourself from feeling stupid and ashamed. So flip it around. How stupid and ashamed will you feel if you don't write your book? Very. I know it's a brilliant idea and it's a big dream of mine. So by not writing the book and trying to protect yourself from feeling stupid and ashamed, you actually end up feeling that way anyways. So the third one is be in the moment. And I find for me, I end up doing this one a lot with my anxiety because it's usually stemmed from overthinking a situation. And if I don't do things to bring myself back into the moment, then it'll just spiral and lead to more irrational fears and I'll never do nothing. Number 4 is cut the stream of negativity. Be more conscious of the information that you're absorbing and evaluate what you really need to know. Are you gathering information that you can make a positive change? Or are you just watching things that you can't do anything about? And number 5 is leave your problems on the nightstand. Don't think about things that are upsetting in bed at night, because what usually tends to happen is your mind's not occupied then and you just keep dwelling on them, but you're not in the position to do anything about them. And all that happens is you end up losing sleep and then you're exhausted and still have to deal with it the next day. And then number 6, love yourself and you will be invincible. So that was chapter 20. So for this one, I wanted to end it on things that I do to help me conquer my different fears. One of the things is I make it so I can't back out, whether it's appointments or with the trips I go on. I know, like, this day and age, it's probably not wise to book a non-refundable ticket. But for me, because of my fear of flying, I would not get on a plane up. And also a lot of the, like, doctor's appointments or other appointments like that, if there is a fee for canceling, those are usually the places I'll go, because then I won't cancel. Another thing I do is self-talk. I will constantly talk myself through things and encourage myself. And as I say that out loud, it sounds silly, but it actually does help a lot. Things like, you can do this. Reason with myself of why I'm feeling that fear. Things like that, they just seem to help me. Quoting statistics to myself. Knowing, as uncomfortable as it may be, that I will be okay is a big one also. This one took a really long time to get to. I really had to be aware of how I'm feeling in different situations and know when I got to that point where I was gonna fall into a bad panic attack. And really reminding myself that if it does get to that point, I could always just stop. And that always seemed to help me. And then the last thing I do is write it out. For me, I find that I process things better in my brain when I physically write them out, as opposed to just saying them or thinking them. So I will write out things I'm fearful of and work through them pretty much the same way as the second point of flipping your fear. I find that that's something that works for me. So that's it for this week. I hope everybody has a really good week, and if anybody has any things that they do to help conquer their fears, let us know. Till next time, bye.